Learning should be a joyful process as a parent.
Mom, can you help me? I feel like I can't do this.
But for some students, this can feel daunting and impossible. Simple reading seems like it could be written in another language. And basic math concepts could practically be quantum physics for your kid.
I can't remember the answer.
As a parent, this can be frustrating, especially if you've tried a tutor or tutors. It's been going on for years. And even then, the struggles persist. Thankfully, it's not the end of the road for you, and help is out there. Meet Margaret Walsh. She's the founder of Secret Garden Educational Pathways, and they take a different approach, which is seeing real results with kids of all ages.
When they're done working with us, oftentimes we've built up a lot of independence. Some students become completely independent learners where what should take an hour takes maybe an hour and a half now instead of 3 hours. But other families have called us and said, hey, Johnny's reading now. I walked into the room and I started crying because he's on the couch reading and he hasn't put the book down for 2 days. Versus when we started working with this student, this is the kind of student who didn't want to touch a book and he would go hide under the table and say, no, I'm not going to read it. When parents hear of us, they usually have two responses. One is, why didn't we hear about you sooner? Where were you 10 years ago? And the second response is, we've been praying about this for a long time, trying to find someone who could work with our student, and this is amazing. It's definitely an answer to prayer. And I think it's important for families to recognize that there's a lot more hope because God has created us with the capability to improve. So our approach is a little bit different because we are looking at the whole person and we're not looking at the label and saying, look, you have this learning disability and you're always going to have these struggles. So this is what we can do to accommodate you while you go through school. We're looking at the whole person and figuring out, are there other factors that are causing or at least aggravating the learning disability? And then we're figuring out, is there a way that we can help strengthen that deficit so that the students can actually move through that, build that skill stronger so that they can perform much better in their schoolwork. Secret Garden Educational Pathways works with students and families from the comfort of their own home. From a parent's perspective, when they're able to access therapy online, it can be super helpful because if you think about the time commitment and trying to get your student out the door, trying to get maybe your family out the door so that one student can have therapy, that's hard. And that's hard on the whole family. It takes an entire chunk out of your day. Your student doesn't like it versus just walking over to the kitchen table or the desk and saying, here's your class, let's sign on. The name Secret Garden is not just pulled out of a hat. It was designed to fit the company because when you're talking about the thought process, you're talking about pathways of thought that need to be strengthened and clarified so that the student can actually grasp the information. And very similar with the story of Secret Garden, there's a secret garden that you have to find the key to unlock, which is kind of like finding what's going on here, what's the root of the problem. It's like the key that unlocks the door. And then it's the story of these children who go in and make this garden beautiful again. Faith is really important to me. We're called to know, love, and serve God in this life and be happy with Him in the next. Creating a space where students might be able to explore some of that is important to me because you can look at things that are beautiful and true and good and weave that into some of what we do.